Too bad, sucker. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the MMA Depressed. I actually wanted to do this thing where, like, I would have my back to the camera.
And
I'd say, like, gentlemen, I've gathered you here to watch the worst fights you can possibly imagine. Welcome, everyone, to the MMA Depressed.
oh man,
Postmodernist, Zane. That was very Rene Magritte.
Oh
man, I kind of wish I had a swivel chair.
What did you say to me, Zane?
Oh, nothing. Anyway,
he's psychologically bullying you as your father figure again.
That's right.
Go through it to the end, Connor.
That's why I look like this. It's a physical manifestation of what I'm feeling inside. I'd be really pretty otherwise, if it wasn't for Zane. Nobody who's watching this knows what we're talking about.
Anyway, we are here with another episode of the MMA Depressed. It's not fight week, so we are torturing ourselves. We are doing our penance for watching good fights the rest of the time by watching really bad fights at the first drop of a hat.
We got to enjoy Home versus Kohea, and so this is what we get, you know?
Yeah.
We
are watching Home Kohea at some point.
At some point.
I'm just putting it out here now.
We have to.
Oh, yeah. But you mean we're not going to watch Arlovsky versus Tybura?
A fight that this may not surprise you, actually kind of enjoyed.
It was a weird fight.
It wasn't bad.
Fun. It was fine.
It was a good reminder that Arlovsky can lose ugly decisions as just as well as he can get knocked out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
So I'm here with Connor Rebish and Phil McKenzie, as always, when we're doing these things. And boy, do we have a lineup for you tonight, folks. We are starting off with one of my all-time favorite good-bad fights. A good-bad classic in the history of bad MMA. Sam Stout versus Cody McKenzie.
This is, I believe, the Cody McKenzie fight where he showed up wearing basketball shorts with the tag still on.
Yes, this is the fight where he what was it, a beer or was it liquor? I think it was a beer. It might have been liquor. Where he like just started drinking and smoking immediately, like under the tunnels after the fight, and threw up, and
oh my god,
brought himself from fringe legend status to true legend status. And I want to say this too, like, I honestly, at the end of the day, I got nothing but love for Cody McKenzie. You know, like, he may not have trained for half the fights he was in, but the dude kept it as real as he could, you know?
I don't know if what I feel for Cody McKenzie is exactly love. Like, I'm sort of a fascinated, like, I guess you do you then kind of thing. You know, you've seen that thing of like the rat in New York pulling an entire bag of trash across the sidewalk. Like, that's sort of how I feel about Cody McKenzie.
Like you would,
it arouses similar kind of feelings.
I'm kind of like, I feel pity and disgust, but also I'm going to follow that rat all the way to wherever it's going with that bag of trash.
Yeah, also I'm kind of like oddly impressed.
See, as a fellow Alaskan, Cody McKenzie, he taps into a certain amount of id for me.
Flying the flag out there.
Where I'm just like, man, I fucking get it. I know.
I love imagining erudite, artsy Zane living in a town full of Cody McKenzies. That is absolutely my dream.
Like,
that's the part of Zane that he left behind.
He's like, you know, he's the kind of dude who's getting off the plane and pulling on his rubber boots and is like, you know, let's go four-wheeling and hunt a moose. Like, that's what he's doing. I'm going to go work on a fishing boat tomorrow to try and make as much money as I can as quickly as I can, and then spend the rest of the winter drinking.
Zane, did you leave all of your mint condition basketball shorts in Alaska when you moved to the Pacific Northwest?
I did. It felt like I had to leave that part of my life behind, you know?
Remember where you come from, Zane. What a shame. That's like losing your accent when you move to America. Come on, man.
All right, our second fight of the night. We're working hard here to find a bad WEC fight, which there aren't a lot of them. But we are pulling out Davis versus Deividas Taurosevicius.
This is how deep we had to go for you people. We had to find a fight that goddamn obscure.
Yeah.
For our bad fight this week. We're trying to get that
its high quality fight. Yeah.
We just had to find something bad happening on that blue canvas.
Yeah. And then finally, we have our disappointment. And because Alistair Overeem versus Fabricio Werdum is coming up on us sometime in the not too distant future, we're watching Alistair Overeem versus Fabricio Werdum 2, the Strikeforce headliner. So it's going to be a night of terror for all those involved. A night of slowly unfolding horror is what I'm planning. And if you haven't seen the show before, you can follow, all the fights we're watching are on Fight Pass. Type them in, find them there. Sam Stout, Cody McKenzie, LC Davis, Deividas Taurosevicius, and Fabricio Werdum versus Alistair Overeem 2. And we will count you down to the start of each video. We're just starting at second one of minute 1 in each video. We'll count you down. You can play along with us, and we're just going to be talking about the fights as they go. If you're not watching them on Fight Pass and you found other copies of them through other means, we will hopefully help Connor remember to count you into the beginning of each round 1. If we're not just talking over him at the time, and he will cue you up for the start of each round, or for the start of round 1 of each fight.
Which means if I'm good, I will interrupt the two of you and then make everyone watching wait for 20 seconds of silence while the referee gets ready to begin the round, which is usually what happens.
That is the tradition, yes.
So on that note, we are going to dive right into our first fight, Sam Stout versus Cody McKenzie, and I'm looking forward to this one. Everyone ready?
As I will be, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is kind of, I don't know. This is also kind of like one of those end of an era fights, because Sam Stout was so much of a... Go ahead.
I don't know. There's something inherently funny about calling Sam Stout versus Cody McKenzie anything to do with any kind of era.
Well, the thing is that Sam Stout, kind of like Marcus Davis, he's one of those dudes that really represented a certain era of UFC talent.
Sure.
And while he won this fight on paper, he didn't really win this fight.
Yeah.
This is one of those, all the dudes, if you were a mid-2000s hardcore fight fan, all the dudes that brought you there are fading out. This is one of those fights.
Sam Stout was one of the uncrowned kings of the guys fighting era of the UFC, and really honestly does deserve a lot of respect as a hard as nails journeyman. Stout ended his career kind of ignominiously, but he was a tough bastard. He was very well-rounded, and for most of his career was typically pretty fun to watch. He had a few stinkers in there, but he was a very crafty guy that I think deserves some praise. Cody McKenzie is Cody McKenzie.
Yeah.
So it's just
I can't remember who his sponsor was for this fight. He had some sponsor that the UFC wouldn't allow on his shorts. Oh my God.
Just everything about him.
And they wouldn't let him wear it. So he went out and bought basketball shorts right before the event at his local Walmart. And the tag is on him. Maybe he trained for this. I don't know.
What could the sponsor have possibly been that they had dude wipes and Condom Depot on dozens of fighters' shorts? What could the sponsor have? It must have been Mr. Skin or something like that. It must have been a porn website.
I mean, this is like this is just pre-Reebok, like full crackdown sponsorship tax era. Where
Okay, here we go. It's starting early.
Yeah.
Round one. Sorry, Zane.
Okay.
Here comes the 20 seconds of silence.
Don't talk about
silence. Silence. Round one begins. Hold on. Give me 30 more seconds. Round one begins now. Really easy to queue up with that.
So, yeah. This is one of the fights, too, that made it obvious to me. Oh, my God, I love that. That little sweep that McKenzie hit on that failed takedown was gorgeous.
Don't you love when Cody McKenzie shows up in basketball shorts and does something like genuinely technical and impressive?
This is the thing. This is the fight that actually made me really realize that and put home the idea that while he may be not athletic really at all and terribly undertrained at times, Cody McKenzie is one of those dudes that just really understands how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And just has a really good natural feel for how to fight people.
Yeah, and is genuinely a very skilled grappler. Like Cody McKenzie, his career has like been a shambles and has just like fallen apart, his life as well in recent years. But it is worth noting that people still refer to the prayer choke as a McKenzie teen. You know, like he still lends his name to a very effective submission because he was so good with it.
Yeah, like I remember, I think he was on Tough, right? He was on the GSP season of Tough. And I can remember like GSP just kind of talking about it, like he is not very athletic, but he really is 100%. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone who believes in I was like GSP just completely baffled as to how this guy can be so incredibly physically untalented yet still be utterly convinced that he is, you know, just this unstoppable force in there. And that's worth something.
It is. I mean, he knew exactly what his game was and how he wanted to apply it. And
Sam Stout looks bewildered.
He does.
He looks utterly bewildered. His eyes are wide. He has no idea what's happening. Why?
Looks like he just rolled off a bar stool because Sam Stout ordered a glass of milk in a bar, and Cody McKenzie is the dude that turns around and is like, "Milk? Drink milk, you sissy."
And his top knot is disintegrating in a particularly hideous way. Like,
oh my God,
man.
Oh, and then a really nice head kick, like out of nowhere. He's just like flopping around and then like snaps a head kick in.
Yeah, I remember the thing that made this such a telling moment for like the end of Sam Stout's run was how well Cody McKenzie did on the feet. And if Cody McKenzie is outstriking you for any portion of a fight, something you need to address some issues. Something is not right.
And you can see Sam Stout like a couple of jabs he threw there that were just like a foot short.
And look at the lovely like timing. These soft straight lefts from Cody McKenzie are really nice. Actually, they're very tricky.
I mean,
go ahead.
This was the, you know, and this was on a less funny sad note. You know, this was the Team Tompkins slide, where it was basically just, you know, it was kind of Sam Stout was one of the only guys left at this point, and he was just kind of, and this was a kind of a deeply horrendous fight for him to, you know, Cody McKenzie is quite a depth to have sunk to, frankly.
Here's the thing, though. He hurt him with a body kick, I think. Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
He looks very obviously hurt.
Yeah. going full Derek Lewis on that body kick reaction there.
Full King Hippo. Here's the thing. Cody McKenzie, you watch this fight. I said, you know, if you're losing to Cody McKenzie in the feet, blah, blah, blah. If Cody McKenzie had his life together, if Cody McKenzie had more like a better strength and conditioning program, there are clearly signs here that he would actually not even be a bad striker. Like there are glimpses of like him breaking rhythm, him understanding his distance. Like there's some nice little tricks he's pulling here on the feet. He's not just taking advantage of a completely shop-worn Sam Stout. That is part of it, but
yeah. I mean, but the thing is obviously with Cody McKenzie, you know, like any like with any you know, with any kind of fighter who's defined by being insane, it's sort of, you know, if you took away the insanity, it's kind of difficult to imagine what would be what
True.
he would be.
Yeah,
Like,
no, absolutely. It's the same thing like where people have talked for years about, oh, if BJ Penn could just get motivated. It's just like, I'm pretty sure unmotivated BJ Penn was what made BJ Penn BJ Penn. Like,
right.
The dude had his crazy way of doing things, and if you cut that out, then you're not going to get the
I
same
think you're probably
fighter.
right. You need the whole package to get the good parts of that package.
So yeah, and the weirdest thing about Cody McKenzie is that, like, you know, coming to the fight in all white basketball shorts and like smoking and drinking it up directly after the fight, and not even close to the like weirdest shit he's done in his career. Like, he did cut weight by taking blood out of his body, right?
Yes, he gave blood to cut weight.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Truly a maniac. Like, just a madman.
Yeah.
And like a madman in a very specific way, and that like this could be so much easier if you did it the right way, kind of. Like, you know, we kind of talking about this before we did the show. It's like the classic fighter thing of being a little bit kind of disorganized and not there. So, you know, it's a very, like, it's just amplified to level 500. Like, I'm just gonna not do this. I'm shit. How do I cut weight? I'm just gonna remove like a pint of blood from my body.
Yeah. No, it's and like, yeah, the getting hurt to the body and all that in this fight too. It gives that feeling of like you didn't actually really like do any preparation for this. Like, you were in the gym a few times to do some drills and like on the mats for some technique stuff, and then you did not spend any time sparring in camp.
Right. Like, you showed up for like a few jiu-jitsu classes, like with the other novices, and just rolled a few sessions.
Yeah, he takes body shots like a regular person does.
Exactly.
Sort of. Like, you know, he's like he's like a weird mix of like a really naturally he's got a natural like talent for fighting, and he's not really scared of what's coming back at him, but then he actually gets like hit in the body and he reacts like a dude off Bully Beatdown.
Yeah. Really, really weird matchup. And
it is like all the talent, all of like the skill-based talent, timing and stuff of a genuinely very good fighter with the physicality of a complete nobody who just rolled off the couch.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Just like it's like that old
fight, because he's fighting somebody who's literally, honestly, a step slower than him, and who's much more technically put together, much more has like the dedication of a fighter, but doesn't have the like
that. It kind of makes this like the saddest fight in history, because like,
yeah, that's why like when Zane was like, "Oh, let's watch Sam Stout," I love this fight. I was like, "Oh, I love this fight,"
because like Cody McKenzie is a tragically comic figure. He's not thinking about the life and times of Cody McKenzie. It cannot just be pure fun. But to know that Sam Stout worked really hard and trained for a full 8-week camp, you know, and came in here and this is
jabs.
Yeah, like that Cody McKenzie, who clearly did not train an ounce, is giving him this level of competition is really quite depressing.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here. I mean, maybe I'm just excited to let you all down.
And like Sam Stout, for those who aren't familiar with him, is like his nickname is a fairly sizable misnomer. Like he is not Hands of Stone. He is not Hands of Stone. He was always like Chin of Stone.
Yeah.
Until he got to like someone knocked him out basically, and then as they tend to, his chin just disappeared.
He had a Chuck Liddell run at the end of his career where every single shot was putting him away, but his chin was pretty legendary in his prime.
He is not a power striker, but he has knocked Cody McKenzie down on multiple occasions.
And mostly just because Cody McKenzie is just like off balance all of the time.
And his reaction to getting punches thrown at him, to like stuff thrown at him, particularly to the body, is just to leap backwards.
Yeah. Oh.
He is like Sam Stout at that very instant realized that Cody McKenzie was dropping both hands to cover his midsection every single time he attacked, and just popped him in the face with a right straight.
Because Cody McKenzie has this like glorious homeless samurai haircut. It's just popping. Like he's almost. He's delivering the exact same hairstyle as every like tragic Ronin in an old Kurosawa movie.
Didn't McKenzie, was it before or after this? He dismantled Leonard Garcia in a kickboxing match, right? Am I misremembering that?
He definitely did. I just can't remember which one that was, or it might have been right before this. Like I say, this was one of the of a couple of fights that was just had me sort of realizing how much of a natural McKenzie was, despite his obvious
his relentless self-sabotage.
Yeah, this is right after the Leonard Garcia win, where he just totally like took the doors off Leonard Garcia.
He really does look like he's one missed shower away from having white guy dreadlocks. He really does. But look, like he's like popping Stout with quick jabs. Like there's some genuinely impressive stuff coming from Cody McKenzie on the feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't even think he's that off balance. Like his stance, his chin is down, his feet are under him most of the time. He's just like, it looks like he hasn't done a single drill.
Yeah.
To prepare him to be a striker. He's just going off of feel. And doing remarkably well.
Like, again, I'm trying to remember. Is this like the one where there's some weird story about how he was cut? Did he miss weight? Did he actually make weight for this fight? I can't remember. There's some weird story about him like watching porn whilst he was making weight or something. I don't know what's true and what's false anymore.
That sounds like a Charles Bennett type of story to me. That sounds like a crazy horse training method, watching porn to lose weight.
Definitely, it's definitely a Derek Lewis method. We've seen the videos.
So to speak.
That fight, he came in at 155. He made weight for that fight.
You hear how Zane is saying that fight, even though we're watching it right now? He's already trying to distance himself from it.
No, I'm happy. This is making me very happy. I don't want to. I don't want to pretend that I don't want to have to pretend that I'm not happy to see Cody McKenzie win the weirdest, or like, I don't even know win, but fight the weirdest fight of all time.
Boy, he had the opposite drive on that takedown.
Yeah. I feel like I should do this takedown now. Yeah.
Well,
Sam Stout there just got the something choke in.
He's got a bit of a ninja choke with a weird angle.
But he doesn't have his hands locked at all. He's just got one choke, one arm on top of him and one arm underneath him.
He had a figure four, I think. Like a rear naked choke grip.
I don't think he did. That was a nice combo from Stout.
Yeah, lovely body shots.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Stout's he's obviously a very well-trained guy. Again, he is not an organic, natural fighter at all.
No, not at all in the way that McKenzie is, weirdly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because like you can see McKenzie, like Sam Stout's throwing, and McKenzie's like slipping the right way, and moving just out of the way of some of these shots, and then coming back to something, and then doing stuff like this.
The first few scrambles were very transitionally brilliant, but there's also been a few moments where McKenzie has failed on a shot, and then just like even with his eyes looking at the ground, has gotten his head out of the way of Stout's counter as he tries to hit him on the break.
Yeah.
Like he has a feel for fighting, man. He really does. Oh my god. I also like the idea that Cody McKenzie is the guy who would give blood to lose weight before he cut his hair. Like, I like to imagine he gave blood but still showed up with this ratty beard and this like homeless samurai top knot thing going on.
Yeah, at least Sam Stout seems to be enjoying himself. Like this can be something of a, at least it was like he got to have like win a technical kickboxing match and feel like, oh yeah, I'm able to show all this stuff I wasn't able to before. But like this is one of those weird like you can look at these dudes and you can look at it and you can just look at it and see how successful these guys are going to be in their lives outside of MMA once their careers are over. Like, you just be like, Sam Stout is just like, I'm going to do everything right. I'm going to train hard. I'm going to give it my all. And like, you're like, yeah, you're going to be fine in the outside world. And meanwhile, I'm just like Cody McKenzie, man, just kind of. I got some natural talent here. I'm pretty sure it's going to work out.
Meanwhile, Cody McKenzie is too busy draining a 40-ounce of Old English to answer your question.
Look at that, though.
Yeah.
That was lovely. That failed takedown to leg lock attempt.
You can watch this fight and you know which of these two guys is going to be invited to Thanksgiving in 10 years.
Yeah.
Which of these guys will still be seeing their family on holidays.
All right. So Sam Stout did win that fight on rewatch.
What a fucking mess, though. Jesus.
What a mess, though.
I wonder what it felt like in there, because he's like, he looked pretty happy with it. I know when you're in a fight, it's incredibly difficult to tell, what kind of fight it is. People think they're in incredible wars and they're in just garbage ass staring matches. I don't know what he felt about that. Did he feel like I'm just technically out? I mean, he kind of was
apart at every level.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he kind of was, but on the other hand, it still wasn't like, it wasn't pretty.
It was a tough fight for him. Like, honestly, it looked like a tough fight.
Yeah.
He never really dominated. He had some good moments. He did well, but he won. But it was not. It also was just like there were so many moments where you're just like, man, if Cody McKenzie had put together anything better than what he did, he could have been really like actually winning that fight.
And again, like, I mean, and it was at least showing that, because I remember thinking about it beforehand, it was obviously one of those fights where you're just thinking, is Sam Stout completely done? Because if he loses this, he is completely done.
Mm-hmm.
And the same was true of Garcia.
Yep.
When he lost that was definitely the moment when you just thought, okay, Leonard, you went on a huge string of fights that you didn't deserve to win, where you got much more success than you deserved. But man, this.
And I mean, but that fight too, like, you say, oh, if he loses it, he's done. He won it, and then he got knocked out 3 times in a row and ended his career. Like,
Cody McKenzie is the career ender. I'm even thinking now that I could probably attribute the disappearance of Chad Mendez's chin to his fight with Cody McKenzie. Somehow a curse was laid on him in that bout that he never recovered from.
Oh man,
I totally forgot he fought Chad Mendez. Oh man, that was amazing.
Chad exploded his body with a single punch.
Yeah, it was a 31-second single body punch knockout.
Which is exactly how Cody McKenzie should lose all of his fights.
It was, actually, Chad Mendez won a lot of fights after that. So but
it was it was borrowed time, man. He'd already fought. He'd fought Cody McKenzie. He was living on borrowed time.
Okay, we got to get to our next fight. LC Deividas Taurosevicius. I have no memory of this at all, so I'm not even sure why we're picking it, but we're gonna find out.
Phil promises us it is a bad fight.
All right.
Yep, that's what I remember from a very long time ago.
All right. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I mean,
we
so
just watched a pinnacle bad fight, so it's got big shoes to fill.
yeah, I'm figuring this is just going to be like, I think I remember this is just a lot of people holding each other against the cage.
All right, already Taurosevicius kind of has the white version of Elsie Davis's haircut, so.
I mean, I like.
Oh my god!
If someone's called like Deividas Taurosevicius, I want them to look like that. He looks like a Roman dude that got like transported through time by Bill and Ted and then left in the cage.
He really does.
He is like a representative of like a lost enclave of deposed Roman emperors that found their way to Lithuania in like the 8th century.
Yeah, like whichever it was, like the 9th Legion, whichever was the one that disappeared.
The Eagle, yeah, they weren't killed by the Picts. They settled in Lithuania, and this is their descendant.
Does feel right.
Oh man, I have to like look up more Lithuanian names now because that is an amazing name, Deividas Taurosevicius. My God. Nickname Taurus.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think I remember this fight, to be honest.
We also got some. We got only a fraction of a second. I wish they had more of the like WEC era MMA fan crowd there. Like there's some more crowd.
Oh, there we go.
Man, that's core MMA crowds. Not gonna say they've evolved a lot since then.
No.
The first one of like the dudes in hugely oversized t-shirt with the hat backwards and the sunglasses on indoors.
Yeah.
That felt of a time and era, but the rest of it's just generic MMA fans.
Yeah.
I
did like your thing on Twitter about the generic CG, the generic crowds in Creed. That was excellent.
I didn't dislike Creed at all, but I couldn't stop noticing that from the first fight scene on, the one where he's in Mexico, and like there's just like you can see one dude in the back of the stands going like
he's in the background of like a fighting game or something.
Exactly.
Like the person in Street Fighter is just going.
Exactly. And it like everybody is so evenly spaced out among the stands that it's just like everybody has their own little block of space.
And the preset animation. All right, round one. Here we go. Yeah. Round one begins. Oh my God. Round one begins now.
All right.
So apparently, Taurosevicius was a talented rugby player who competed for the national team of Lithuania and won an award given to the best player in the country in 1999.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Then he felt that rugby did not have enough respect in America, even though he moved there to continue his professional career, and I guess that's why he went into MMA.
The ultimate sport of respect.
Mm-hmm, right, yeah. MMA in 2002, the ultimate, the sport that everyone really, really thought was going places.
So Elsie Davis has always been kind of a weird fighter for me because he's one of those dudes that like had such a wrestle grinding reputation, and then it would have these moments of being like this big power punching boxer that would just suddenly like not be there the next fight at all. Especially late in his career. Like I remember him having a couple of stellar knockouts.
He reminds me of like Clifford Starks in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas just like these moments of dynamic power offense, and then it's just kind of like lots of this. So far we've gotten, some traded kicks and knees, and now we're getting a clinch exchange, which is an active clinch at least. I mean, Taurosevicius is trying those high knees, and Davis is working for underhooks or for a tie plum. Little groin shot in there from Taurosevicius.
I think the McKenzie Stout fight literally just took all the life out of me. I don't think I could possibly enjoy something for the rest of the day. Phil's gone. Phil is gone. Phil's off the call because this was his plan, is to get us to watch this fight and then vanish.
All right. Do I have to like open my email or something?
That's son of a bitch. He did this on purpose. Yeah, more clinching.
Right. Lots of clinching.
And a break. For a surprisingly active clinch, and yet I can't complain.
It's got that it's got that vibe of like two guys fighting in the clinch who aren't really about to hurt each other.
Mm-hmm. It's also got the vibe of two guys who are standing 8 feet apart from one another on the feet and both throwing punches as if they're about to connect.
Yeah, that's definitely the guys who don't strike that much. Striking, classic MMA striking, kickboxing right there.
There was a nice little counter hook from Davis. Oh, he's looking for a counter right hook. He throws it pretty well.
Yeah, like I say, he's got these flashes of reasonable power boxing that just kind of come and go.
They keep getting tied up in these clinches where vicious elbow from LC Davis. They keep getting tied up in these clinches where Davis just wants to like wind up with his free hand and throw, and he can't figure out how to get Taurosevicius' hand off of his bicep. So he's just like standing there with one arm behind his back trying to throw a punch.
Finally now working for a takedown, a single leg, but not much of an attempt.
He's doing okay here. He's got some nice elbows. He's switched from throwing long punches to short shots, and it's working. But like this stuff, look at this. Oh, nice turnaround.
Bill's telling me that his internet connection has died, so hopefully that's not a permanent fixture. Otherwise, Connor and I are just going to have to run solo on this with Connor feeling depressed. I mean, this might actually pick us back up because so far this fight's fine. Like,
yeah, it's not been terrible.
It's an active, clinch-heavy fight that is at least reasonably active. Some foot stomps getting in there.
Taurosevicius does not like he has. It's weird because he's had these moments where he had a really nice turn and get an underhook, but then he spends most of the time like being really unsure of how to battle an underhook.
Well, he can see pretty clearly that he's one of those dudes who is very athletic and powerful, and used to doing all of his fighting by being very athletic and powerful. Like he's got some skill basics, but like going for those takedowns there, it's really clear he just wanted to get body lock and then throw LC Davis down. And, you know, at a certain level, it's really difficult to fight that way.
Okay, I'm back. What's going on? Where are we?
Round 2 just began.
Beginning of the second round now. A lot of clinching, but so far this fight hasn't been too bad. Like, they've been active. They're going after each other.
Okay, I fucked up then.
No, it's not. It's not been great. I mean, it's been a great fight.
Yeah. We're not like nobody's hurt the other guy. Nobody's gotten any really successful offense. It's just been.
It definitely has a potential to be a stalemate down the stretch.
Yeah, especially if this keeps up. This kind of kickboxing from like 5 feet away where neither guy is anywhere close to landing anything.
Phil, do you want to see?
I remember this being a fight between two guys who are identical.
It kind of feels like that.
You know, it's one of those fights.
It does feel that way. And not just because Taurosevicius is rocking a super white version of a fade.
Yeah, I remember a lot of failed wrestling.
Oh yeah, there has been a lot. This is like watching like Bojan Veličković wrestle.
Yes,
it's a lot of that, like a lot of strength and grinding effort being put in, and not a lot of control or technical skill.
I mean, they're not bad. I I mean, they're pretty decent. But yeah, it's just like the problem is that they're both almost exactly as good as each other. Like,
Yeah.
So neither one of them can really like take over very much at all. It's weird because like Davis gave us that fantastic Hideo Tokoro fight.
Yeah, but
relatively...
you might say that is more to do with Hideo Tokoro than Elsie Davis.
That's probably true.
Who has not had an amazing fight with Hideo Tokoro? Only those who haven't fought him, really.
That's right. But so far, I mean, like, this is active. You know, they're not doing nothing. It's Taurosevicius getting a takedown there. He's working on something. The moment he tried to strike, Elsie Davis was able to get back up. But
I mean, it's certainly ugly.
It's certainly ugly. It's certainly a stalemate. We're trying with these I think that's the real thing. Oh, and there's a big groin shot that the ref didn't see at all.
He punched him right.
And Taurosevicius is still like digging for hooks right to the groin.
Like, I mean, if you can get away with it, you know, it looks. It kind of looks like he's punched him in the nuts. Like, and Elsie Davis is kind of sort of visibly wincing in pain.
I think he just punched him back in the groin, if I saw that correctly. I think he just snuck a tiny little short shot to the cup.
I respect that, man. I think if somebody hits you low and they don't get penalized, you should absolutely immediately hit them in the dick. I think that is a very good and crafty move.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into some some foot stomps, but short punches, just like punches in the shorts. Not short punches, but shorts punches.
Shorts punches. Why is it that neither of these guys seems to know what to do when the other one has an underhook?
I don't know.
They both are like completely neutralized when the other one gets an underhook.
Punch him in the dick again, Deividas.
There you go. You need him in the groin. Like, he's mixing it up.
On command.
Andre Ward could learn from these guys.
Hit each other in the pills from range, please.
That ref must just hate groins. It's just like, that's what you get. Maybe he's a eunuch. He's kind of big and bald and like fleshy. Maybe he
just
been castrated. So he's just like has a hatred for all.
Yeah, he just hates them for it. Like, yeah.
He does, however.
Groins must die.
I do know, however, this referee has a beautiful singing voice. He really hits those high notes.
So Davis landing a couple of good punches in there and convincing Taurosevicius to go back to some clinch cage grinding and failed wrestling.
Who won the first round? Did anyone?
Probably Elsie Davis.
Probably Davis, yeah.
Well, this is a grimy fucking fight.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, and
I like.
Okay, those were to the thigh, but they're to the upper knees to the upper inner thigh.
There was one that was definitely to the groin, I think, in the clinch with a thigh.
Yeah.
Boy.
Let's see there.
How did the referee not see that?
Oh
my God.
So this is really so far more of a, if nothing else, if it's a good bad fight. Like,
yeah, it's definitely not good, but it's almost good bad. It's real messy.
It's a messy scrap.
Yeah, I mean, so the Roman Legion, I think, they did kind of revolutionize in close combat, with the gladius, but also, their intense like focus on groin strikes.
Yeah, the dick punch is really the dick punch is really the gladius hispaniensis of fist fighting.
True. We really should have tapped Pat for this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we should pitch that to him as one of his next the Fall of Rome series. The invention of the steel cup or the diamond cup.
That is what
and how it led to a breakdown in tactical fighting. for the Roman Legion.
Was it an underrated element of the fall of the Roman Empire? Get Joe Rogan to guest star on it as well, you know?
Yeah.
You could be really, really committed to a very bad joke if you did a whole Fall of Rome series, which was just all of Deividas Taurosevicius' losses.
That would be way
go.
too committed to a bad joke.
And all those kind of historic, you know, those historical preserved places like, you know, Vesuvius and Herculaneum and so on, and they just find this incredibly well preserved like glass mosaic of just one dude just landing a huge uppercut right to the other guy's junk. You know, like, this truly is, you know,
man,
Rome as it was.
Taurosevicius is like a freeze frame for the morphology of MMA striking. Like him feinting from like 5 feet away, where it's like, we're gonna throw a feint jab from like 5 feet out. It's like, what could that possibly lead to for you?
He threw a 4-punch feint combination while standing 6 feet away from LC Davis.
Exactly. It's just like, where, you know, and it's like this learning curve of MMA where it's like, oh no, we actually do need to feint and like try and set up more complex striking. I was like, well, I better do it from a safe distance where he can't hit me. Like, I'm not gonna do that shit inside, like in the pocket.
You know, I kind of like the referee has broken up a lot of very active clinch exchanges. These guys have not been resting in the clinch. Like, neither's made a lot of headway because they're so equally matched. But ooh, nice left straight from LC Davis.
Yeah,
nice.
And a good takedown behind it.
Yeah, it was a nice transition to the takedown.
Taurosevicius now thinking that as an incredibly short, compact man, he can go for a rubber guard.
I've never seen somebody's ligaments resist the rubber guard so strongly.
Pretty much almost got it halfway back.
It's like,
Ish. Yeah.
He can barely.
Oh man, this looks like it's hurting him a lot more than it's like. It just looks like he's putting himself in like a toe hold rather than actually like.
The struggle to get that up to LC Davis's neck is just like.
And these punches he's landing. Look at these.
This is good. See, this is. Yeah.
This is great. This is almost the equivalent of the 50-50 exchange we watched not long ago. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like, see, this is a pretty good one. Like, this is actually pretty. It's, you know, it's skirted with it now. It has become kind of good bad because it's been such a kind of dispiriting fight. Like, just. Two guys just pretty much the same. One of them's, you know, slightly more athletic, and one of them just loves punching people in the dick just a bit more.
The referee stepped in to stand them up, and Taurosevicius couldn't. He finally got his rubber guard over the shoulder and could not get his leg free again.
I was like, yeah, finally I've done it, but my ligaments are stuck in this position now forever.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We get one final shot to the pills. Oh, yeah. So close.
So close. He went for it.
He was trying for it.
What a fight.
Yeah, so like,
my god.
Yeah, so like, and that is a testament to the quality of the WEC, because that's pretty much one of the worst WEC fights I've ever seen. And it was pretty hilarious, frankly.
It was. You know, and at the end there, Taurosevicius is like, now if you give me tribute, we'll let you govern yourselves. And we'll recruit some of a certain amount of your population to join the Legion. And
now that we have crushed your barbaric tribe on the field of battle.
Yeah.
The ultimate sign of dominance in Roman society is to, after 3 minutes of constant struggle against your own body, to finally get your instep against your opponent's face. Oh man.
Oh.
You know, Taurosevicius. Well, I don't know if he's like, like if he's officially retired. But his last 5 fights, he was on a 5-fight win streak, including an arm triangle win over Marlon Moraes.
He also beat Mackin Semmers. He beat Bart Palashevsky. Like he's got some pretty decent wins on his record. He beat Dan Lozon.
Well, I mean, you could see in that fight, if nothing else, he's obviously like a very a dude who can bully people really well.
Yeah.
Who's got a lot of physical strength to him. May not have a lot of technique there, but he could. I can't say I paid that much attention to his career over time. He must have improved.
Yeah, after this fight, 2 fights later, he in beating Marlon Moraes, he won the Ring of Combat title and defended it till his retirement.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a success story out of that hilarious fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that bad of a fight. Like it was perplexing and very ugly, but it ended up being extremely entertaining, which is, much better than I had hoped for.
Yeah, no, I mean it brought you back from the brink after McKenzie versus Stout.
Yeah, this is what happens when we fuck up our. Yeah, because we had like a good bad, which was funny but also very depressing, and then we had a bad, which started off like pretty bad, but has eventually ended up being kind of good bad.
Frankly, it never really was bad. It had the potential to be, but it just kept growing into being more good bad and fun bad.
It was a fight that if it had happened, like I can imagine, as part of a WEC card, most of which were just wall-to-wall action and fun, I can imagine that being a serious low point on a card. Like let me look it up.
That's why I remember it. That's why I remember it basically.
Yeah, let's see. WEC 47 also had Dominic Cruz versus Brian Bowles. It had Joseph Benavidez versus Miguel Torres. It had Javier Vasquez versus Jens Pulver and Bart Palashevsky versus Karen Darabedian, who I don't know.
Karen Darabedian, yeah.
Scott Jorgensen, Chad Mendez, Anthony Pettis, Danny Castillo, Leonard Garcia, George Roop, Fredson Paixão, Ricardo Lamas, and then that fight was in the midst of it. So it was probably an amazing card, and that was obviously a low point.
Yeah, seriously, like
the last, the end run of WEC, like the last whatever it was, 7 events they had were just like some of the best events.
Yeah,
like top to bottom, it was just like one of the best runs ever.
Yeah.
Oh, making me all wistful now. All right. Let's jump on to Alistair Overeem versus Fabricio Werdum 2 before we get to feeling too good about ourselves. All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
So what I will be looking for in this fight are any moments I can find of Rafael Cordero being extremely upset at Fabricio Werdum for the way he is fighting, because I know for a fact Cordero chewed him out for like every moment. Anytime this fight was brought up, he was so angry that Werdum, who by the way, in many portions of this fight, does outstrike Alistair Overeem, just kept flopping and pulling guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those fights where, like Guida Maynard, as far as I can recall, where, like, as far as the actual, like, offense landed, I sort of gave it to Werdum, but it was, again, I knew that no one else would, no judge would do that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I'm kind of interested to see it for that reason. I'm interested to see if does Werdum still land more meaningful offense than
it's also worth noting,
this fight.
We could have almost done out of this a best of supercuts of the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah, we could have basically done that. Yeah,
man, was that ever a awesome idea in theory that did not pan out to being an awesome idea in practice.
Yeah.
Watching Antonio Silva drop hammers on Fedor may have been slightly sadder to me than watching Matt Mitrione do it.
Yeah, because that was when you realized, because we knew Fedor was done when he fought Mitrione, and there was one brief moment of him going, oh, maybe he's not. But yeah, in like you were in the Bigfoot fight, people were still thinking, "Oh wow, yeah, I think Fedor just got caught. He's gonna be coming back." It's like Aldo. It's like Aldo McGregor. Like, he's still there. He's still there. And then it was like that was the fight where you're like, he's not there.
Yeah.
This is just like he is very distinctly on the downslope. But it wasn't amazing.
In the Bigfoot case, it would be sort of like Aldo taking a beating from Darren Elkins.
Although, to be fair, an amazing performance from Bigfoot. Like, it's the greatest. It's a really good technical performance from him. Like one of the best of his career.
Or how about here's a better example. How about Charles Oliveira? It'd be like Aldo getting beat by Charles Oliveira. That is a better example.
Yeah,
because Charles Oliveira, Bigfoot, they're both good, decent fighters in their primes. When Bigfoot was Bigfoot, he was a good fighter. But they're also fighters full of holes that you would never really imagine beating the elite world-class fighters of their era at any point.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the Fedor thing, he'd technically deteriorated more than he had physically deteriorated. He was just like, no, I'm just going to fight Bigfoot on the feet. And despite the fact that this guy, if you get him on the ground, he's completely helpless because his head weighs as much as the rest of his body. He's kind of fragile. Just going to try and kickbox with him from range and actually get hit by counter takedowns because I'm spamming overhand right so much. Yeah. Anyway. So we got looks like it's about to start.
Here we go. Oh, we have a little referee instructions first. Why do I feel like I never see this anymore in MMA?
The referee instructions?
Yeah. I guess they only do it for title fights?
I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah. I think part of it may be the UFC's increasing drive to increase commercial space so that we see less of the pre-fight build-up than we used to for a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Yeah. Round one begins, right? Good Lord. Round one begins. Round one.
Deliberately doing fuck with you. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right now.
Yep. It may also just be that one of those things that they finally realize, they actually go through and say all this stuff to them before they walk out, too, so they really don't have to do it in the cage.
Yeah, but think of how many memorable moments you have in combat sports history where you get that little stare down as they give the instructions,
I love it, too. So, yeah, Werdum doing well to start. Landed threw a head kick, threw a nice little combo there, landed a good knee inside. He's coming out, going after Overeem, and Overeem, being his normal bully self, is just kind of taking shots and looking at him, letting himself get hit. And then this. It's like they both learned exactly the wrong lessons from their first fight.
He does a stupid little roll.
Overeem learned I should not try and compete with Fabricio Werdum in any way that puts me in any danger. And Fabricio Werdum learned I should not ever try to strike with Alistair Overeem at all.
But he's landed 5 shots and Overeem hasn't hit him once.
I know.
He's landed a ton of Overeem has not punched him yet.
Nope.
Wouldn't you think from that first exchange that you'd be like, oh, I can hit him?
Yeah. Overeem has still yet to land a strike so far in this fight.
And he's just started spamming fucking takedowns. And just the sheer chin differential between these guys.
Right.
Werdum has a ridiculous, Prime Werdum has a ridiculous chin.
Yeah.
And Overeem just not at all.
He's never had a chin.
In any way.
On the mat there, I think we didn't see it, but we may have had the first example where where Werdum was looking over to the side. And I would bet he was looking over at Cordero, screaming at him.
You can imagine, too, if you're Cordero, you know that you have taught this grappler some credible striking skills, which at this point he clearly already has. And the sheer, like, the trolliness with which he keeps pulling guard, like how smugly satisfied he seems to be with the tactic. You can imagine Rafa Cordero being extremely upset.
Over a couple times, and Werdum swarmed him into the cage successfully, and then this.
He's okay. So you have been trying to vaguely keep the count of the strike count. It's basically like Werdum has landed about 20 strikes, and like Overeem has landed about 4. And admittedly, they've probably been very hard, but like he's landed a few good knees and so on. But like, what are you doing? Like, look at that.
There's like 3 strikes for Werdum, nothing coming back at him.
Do that again.
Because it's not like Overeem
He's got no defense.
It's not like Overeem has ever been a great counter striker in MMA. Most of what Overeem does when he gets popped is he just covers up and shells and tries to ride it out and then look for one big shot that he can land in return.
Yeah, I mean, this is prime. This is prime, Overeem, who he just shells up. He puts his hands like exactly like this, so you can punch down the middle or up the.
Yep.
He doesn't move much. He landed a nice left hook there.
Yeah, those were legit shots from Overeem, but also Werdum just he's looking over at his corner again there.
Mm-hmm.
And Werdum has already clearly gassed himself from trying like 20 takedowns. Landed
from
a nice right hand.
Up so often. I remember they mentioned. I can't remember. It was like in one of the recent either Bellator or UFC events. I can't remember which one, where they're talking about like how much it actually does tire you out and suck to have to keep getting up off the canvas over and over again.
Yeah,
as like a legitimately tiring thing, and especially for heavyweight like Werdum.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, I can't replicate the experience of a well-trained professional athlete, although I do think that at this time, Werdum was probably not in particularly good physical condition. But one of the most exhausting things that I experienced when I did jiu-jitsu was like somebody has their guard and you just try to stand up in it, or like just getting back to your feet repeatedly is exhausting, especially when you are a heavyweight.
That may be an underrated story of this fight is maybe how quickly Werdum tired himself out, pulling guards so often and having to stand.
He also did he hurt his knee?
I don't know.
I think he might have hurt his.
The ultimate self-sabotage is that we know that in the second and third rounds of this fight,
for this guy.
Yeah, no, we know that in the second and third rounds of this fight that Overeem is entirely, completely gassed.
Yeah.
And so it's the ultimate self-sabotage to just exhaust yourself by shooting for unsuccessful takedowns and pulling guard over and over and over. When you clearly Werdum might have won that round. He probably did.
He did.
Oh yeah, I thought he easily won it. Like, I don't think it was particularly close. Like, he landed so many more strikes and they were pretty clean and hard.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of like, this is the thing, you have to like, if you're just accounting like offense, like, it's like I said, it's like the Guida Maynard thing. You're gonna like, Guida lost that fight because he looked like he was running away, but on the, we all watched it again and we were like, I think. But like, you're never gonna win the judges over by falling over repeatedly.
And especially when you're giving someone like Overeem the opportunity to like shake his head and look at you scornfully while you lie on your back. Like, you're just not presenting the right. It's the opposite of good bullshit.
Especially too, like when Overeem actually does, he lands a hard left hook and Werdum falls to his back to pull guard.
Yeah,
you actually,
it looks like a knockdown.
Like,
even though on the replay, I'm pretty sure it showed that didn't actually land cleanly. I think it hit his glove.
Yeah,
he just fell over.
Ooh, he got hit by a hard knee there, though. That looked like it really hurt. I mean, but his chin is so good. Yeah. But look at that.
Yeah.
And he lands a 1-2 and a 1-2, and then he's you can see him holding his knee, though. I think he has hurt it.
He may have injured his knee, too, throwing himself to the ground so much. Like, it just seems like...
Yeah, his definitely...
It seems like, he is. He injured his knee. You can see it in the way he's walking. But honestly, I mean, if Werdum injured his knee and is exhausted, as it appears to be, he's still fighting better on the feet than...
He hurt Overeem.
Yeah.
Overeem was hurt. He hurt him with a pair of clenched knees.
He still got Overeem's number on the feet, And any reason that Werdum is exhausted or hurt right now is all his own fault for throwing himself on his ass so many times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I don't think anything happened to
This is
Werdum
very
to
true.
hurt himself other than maybe Overeem got close to him and he threw himself on the ground so quickly that he torqued his knee.
You see how laborious
Yeah.
that stand-up was just then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overeem now
He's
landing
really-
some actually good hooks in there.
Good uppercut.
Work from Overeem.
This fight is, to be fair, this fight is a lot better than I remember it being.
Yeah.
Like, aside from
these
like
exchanges are actually
Werdum's
really
dumb
fun.
fuckery.
It's a good fight. It's
Yeah.
just frustrating.
Like, it's actually a pretty like good. Yeah, it's a good like Thai kickboxing clinch battle. Like, it's just like Werdum just periodically going, I want to give the judges the worst possible impression.
And to his credit, Overeem does not actually seem that tired yet in this fight.
And
He seems
Werdum
a
was
lot less
exhausted.
tired than Werdum.
No. I mean, this was Overeem.
But I mean,
So
he's
ooh,
working at it
okay, you
fast.
genuinely hurt Werdum there.
Man, this might be actually a hard round to give to Werdum, even though he had a good couple of flurries.
Yeah.
Overeem has come back with a couple of really big ones. And Werdum looks
Yeah, he landed one ridiculous knee and one huge, a huge combination there.
Yeah.
But his, like I said, prime Verdum's chin
Yep.
is something to behold.
It is.
That's the thing. He probably could have just rode it out.
Yeah.
Not without a huge. It would have cost him so much less, like pain and aggro, if he just slugged it out with, Overeem in the pocket.
Yep. And here's Overeem actually staying in Werdum's guard. That's good to see.
Yeah, this is the thing I remember from this. But that's the other thing is why would you think that playing guard, Overeem is a very good grappler. I don't know why you would think that playing guard is the way to beat him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to be a really effective guard grappler at heavyweight.
Ooh.
Like you see,
And see, that's pulling guard right there, but that looked like Werdum got dropped by a huge body shot.
He did get hit hard too.
And that's the thing, is that he got hit hard enough and then he immediately dropped to his back. And so it's is he pulling guard or is that a knockdown?
and is he seriously gonna be able to do anything to Overeem from half guard on bottom in the second round?
Yeah, of course not.
I mean, that's where he got the Kimura from guard in the second round in their first fights. I'm sure it's on Overeem's mind.
Yeah.
And Werdum, but it's still Overeem is a capable fighter from top position.
Why would you think, even just given the difference in physicality from this compared to their first fight, why would you think you would want Overeem on top of you?
Yeah.
He's a behemoth.
Now they're just having sex, though. This is just sex, literally.
This is just sex.
I do think that there is
look at Overeem. He's draped on him.
Yeah.
Post-coital passion.
This is where it really. Yeah. If what we saw there isn't the actual MMA depressed us image, it is something very like it. The actual one that we have on the cover of the show.
I thought you did that, didn't you?
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. I honestly can't. That's the thing. I can't remember where I got that image from. It might have been this.
It should have been this. It should have been this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Post-coital.
So yeah. Yeah. So I do think that Reem did a really good job of not giving up that takedown. By the way,
yeah.
I'd like to say that was actually pretty impressive. But I do think that Werdum has a big bully mentality, and it's an underrated part of that knee.
I think it really did hurt him. I think that was he's very willing to fall down, but his legs kind of went out there.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. You don't know if you're a ref scoring it.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened there. You have to say that it's one round apiece at this point.
Yeah.
No mortal man takes a knee from Overeem with their posture destroyed like that and doesn't get pretty badly hurt by it.
I mean,
he is Werdum is historically like he is a bully. You know, he gets into all these fucking outside the cage fights with smaller dudes consistently, like Taverdian, John Jones, Luke Rockhold. Like he's consistently starting shit with people who are smaller than him.
That will not only start shit with you, but if you start shit with him, will make it physical really quickly in order to like scare you off.
Yeah, he's obviously a guy who goes around trying to like literally be the big man.
And yet here he is outstriking Overeem in the clinch for the first 30 seconds of this round.
Yep.
Oh. But yeah, it just seems like you know, because he talks about after the fight about how physically strong Overeem was, and I think that just freaks him out.
Yeah,
like he was just like, oh no, I can't strike with this guy. He's just so powerful, but obviously he can.
Yeah,
and you know.
So that's the interesting thing is that like Overeem is also a bully. Overeem's his mental fortitude crumbles very, very easily, along with his chin. And so what is the story in this fight of like two bullies facing each other? What is it do you think that
that looks like getting dropped?
Yeah. I guess it's just because Werdum, in his bullyiness, he falls back on the grappling.
Yep.
And Overeem doesn't. Overeem is like, when he's being a bully, he's still going to strike with you. So he just gets to look better in a fight between two bullies.
This is
I think basically,
I think what you see here really is Werdum giving Overeem the chance to feel confident in every single round.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He's recharging Overeem's bully batteries every time he does that. Right. He's like, "Oh, I can't fight you. I can't fight you. I can't fight you." And every time Overeem is just thinking like, he can't fight me.
Yeah.
And if he didn't have those moments, he'd probably, you know, his tank runs empty pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like, 30 seconds for Werdum, this to him still feels like he's getting to be a bully too. He feels like he can like goad over.
Man,
clubbed him again.
Two beautiful right hands from Werdum.
Yeah, and taken over late. Like, it's just that.
Ooh, that was a nice body shot from Reem.
And that particular, like, dropping after Overeem lands that body shot, that's where Overeem gets to, again, be like, you know, okay, yeah, you hit me a few times, and you had me on my heels, my confidence was going, but now I'm right back.
Right. Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time he gives Overeem a reason to doubt himself, he almost immediately follows up with a confidence boost for Overeem.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah.
And it's the fact that, like, Overeem needs to see that his strikes are effective. He needs to be...
Yeah.
He needs to see that stuff is working. When people have absorbed his best shots and come back at him, he's been... But every time, Werdum's just there making sure that his strikes look like they're the most powerful strikes ever landed.
Right.
We see this in this fight right here, like in 10-second bursts, when Werdum just eats Overeem's shots and comes after him. Overeem crumbles almost instantly. He starts taking shots really poorly. He starts looking away when he's getting hit. He starts shelling, and then Overeem comes back and lands a couple of good shots, and Werdum just drops and undoes all that work.
And it's the fact that like Werdum has like beckoned Overeem into his guard multiple times, and now when he has at these points when he has Overeem in his guard, he just looks like he is dying.
Right. He finally like, that's why it's insane. Like the fact that he came, like his reaction was, okay, I need him in my guard on the ground at any cost. You can see what a foolish idea that is to start, because
it's like, wow, this dude is heavy.
Overeem's beating him on the ground.
And it maybe even that Overeem wouldn't have beat him on the ground, but his start, like throwing himself down so much so early, clearly exhausted him.
Yeah.
And once you're tired, all that grappling gets harder. Like a bottom game especially gets difficult if you're tired.
Yes, he is visibly more tired than Overeem is. Like, he is
Yep.
visibly more tired than a maximum mass Alistair Overeem is.
Yep. He's still winning on the feet in
I still have him winning. I still have him winning this round, I have to say.
Yeah, he might
But
be.
the fight, but like the parts where he loses look so visibly awful. He's not taking much damage in any of them.
No.
Admittedly, you have something here.
Nah, he's way too far down the leg.
And that's the end of the fight.
Yeah,
just a frustrating.
I mean, I still have it like, I have it the same way I think I had it the first time. It's 29-28 Werdum. Like under like actual damage inflicted, he won the 1 and 3. But like, in no way should anyone expect to win a fight where they do that.
You can't possibly complain about them giving Overeem those last 2 rounds because Werdum looked terrible.
They might have given Overeem all 3 rounds. And to be fair, again, like, you know, if you want to throw yourself on the floor like 20 times in a round, like, that's what you get.
Yeah. Well, honestly, quite an interesting and entertaining fight, but a very frustrating and perplexing one at the same time.
Yeah, it definitely it fits our disappointment mold of a fight that should have been cool and was interesting, but it was not cool. It was not like a fan experience to show up and be like, "Oh my God, can you see this? Did you see this?"
So, which of these 2 outcomes would you enjoy more? The third fight is everything this fight clearly could have been, or the third fight, Werdum flops and pulls guard throughout again.
Oh no, that one. Yeah. I want that to happen again. I want that, like, just because it would be one of those things where I would be, you know, just frustrated laughs the whole time. You know, when you get that kind of thing, when you're just kind of like, you kind of.
It would be
that picture of like the dude of that
Werdum 2,
picture
where you're just like the whole time. Like, what? Why is this the exact same dumb fight they had last time?
Yeah, I think that there is a precedent to suggest that is what will happen. That Werdum has already had a rematch where he just had the same dumb fight but worse.
Oh man, if that happens, can we get like we need Cordero corner audio?
Yeah. Yeah, Cordero in this fight, I imagine, probably put Henry Hoof to shame with the rage he was spitting in that corner. Man, oh man.
Oh man, what a fight.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. Like, Werdum's but like, Werdum never has boring fights, really.
No. He's always
sometimes
doing
frustrating
in a fight. He's never the kind of fighter that's not doing anything. Whether it's functional or not, he's always doing something.
I think you can say the same for Overeem. Like, these are 2 guys who either win spectacularly or collapse spectacularly.
Yeah.
And both of those things are compelling.
Oh, Gus Johnson. Does he have his lipstick on today? I don't think he does.
Man.
We can't hear how tired.
Yeah. Overeem like getting 2 words out before he has to take another gasping breath.
Yeah. I remember him just being unable to talk after this.
Not that Overeem is ever the kind of dude who really has a lot of prolonged speeches to say. He always sounds slightly out of breath. He's always kind of like, well, I can't wait to go to lunch today. With that heavy Dutch accent that I can't replicate.
That wasn't bad. The first few, even you just saying, well, I just, that sounded like Overeem.
Yeah.
Phil had a shockingly good GSP earlier in this episode.
He did have a shockingly good.
Thank you. Yeah, so that wasn't too bad. I have to say, I'm really bummed. I was really bummed by when Overeem eventually and when he lost to Stipe. I know Stipe is a much nicer guy than him and a better person and all that, but like, I enjoyed watching Overeem. Basically, it was like him running through the UFC was that run to the belt was like watching someone like when they've got to speed run a game without getting hit at all. It was like watching like late career Overeem. I was like, I just had to appreciate like the sheer like walking on a knife edge. Like, is he going to get knocked out by this guy? Is he going to get knocked out by this guy? Nature of it.
Yeah. I mean, I can never really hate Overeem. If nothing else, he's given us a whole career arc of him kicking people because they ask him to.
Yeah.
like him kicking fans because they want him to, which are always the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Little girls, female reporters, anybody who
Yeah.
asks over him to kick them, he will kick them and he won't pull back. He's a fascinating character, man. He and Werdum both. Like, you could write a really interesting biopic about either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think it too. If he was the dude, there's a video of somebody, I think it was Overeem too, who wanted him to punch them in the body. And
maybe that was Mark Hunt.
No, Mark Hunt did that one with the fat kid, where the kid just like absorbed it like this antimatter sort of weird.
Hey, you say fat kid? That was a kid. That was a kid who had lost a shitload of weight doing MMA.
Yeah, but no, Overeem was some skinny guy, I think, who was in some skinny kid who wanted Overeem to punch him in the body, and Overeem just like kind of tapped him, and the kid was like, "No, no, no, really, really, punch me in the body," and he just slugged him with a hook.
I want to see someone with a death wish just say, "Mr. Overeem, sir, could you hit me with a knee to the liver?"
Oh.
I just want to see like Overeem full power blast an average person with like one of those knees that like sent era into the fucking ether. Like, I just want to see that.
It's like that. It's like that the scene in Watchmen when like they're talking about Captain Carnage or whoever it was, the guy who'd followed like superheroes around and asked to get beaten up by them. And they're like, yeah, what happened to that guy in the end? And they're like, oh yeah, he tried it on Rorschach and he dropped him down a lift shaft. Like, yeah, like I'm the crazy person who likes to get hit by MMA fighters. Don't do this to Overeem. He finds it hilarious to hit people like harder than.
Oh man!
All right.
Should we feel bad that this episode was so satisfying? Because I feel like we really, the idea of the show is that we're supposed to be really unhappy by the end, but that was a good time.
Yeah, we I mean, it was sort of a reversed depressed us episode where it started. I mean, I was happy throughout, but we started out with a low note and rose progressively. Yeah. So
boy,
we'll work on it. We'll slow things down and make it really terrible. I think what we really needed is that Taurosevicius LC Davis fight was way too okay.
I don't even know why it was so much fun to watch, but that last round just had me in stitches, man.
Yeah. We need something far worse, and there are so many more options out there. So we'll do better next time on that. On that front, you can find me on Twitter at These Anytime. You can find Connor on Twitter at BoxingBush. That's BUSCH. You can find Phil on Twitter at Evil Greg Jackson. You can find all three of us over at bloodyelbow.com. Give us a like. That's the thumbs up thing over on YouTube. That helps us a ton. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com, DOTCOM. We get all the latest.
And before we wrap up, sorry, Zane, before you hit stop, I have a suggestion. Maybe people who have ideas, since we're running out of really obvious choices, send us on Twitter, send us suggestions of bad fights that will be available on Fight Pass with a hashtag. Let's do hashtag MMA Depressed Us.
Okay, fair. Cool. Do that too.
We all have ideas.
Although good bad would probably be the hardest ones to fill. I think
you should know, people, when you do that. We'll try and use the hashtag. The hashtag is a good idea because we're not going to be doing this for another month and a half. Yeah. So
definitely use the hashtag, otherwise they will just vanish into the seas of internet time.
Exactly. So we will try and make sure that we use that and make it help. But otherwise. Yes, I had a whole thing that you interrupted in the middle of it there, so I've forgotten where I was. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.